Welcome to my channel. I would like to discuss about feelings of worthlessness that might be visiting you from time to time and what might help you to learn to respond differently to these feelings that are automatic. Maybe everyone around you seems to be moving forward, but no matter what you do, you feel behind, you feel worthless, and you feel inadequate. If you have ever felt this way, that feeling of worthlessness, inadequacy doesn't come from a flaw in you. It comes from a learned experience. And today I want to help you to understand how to learn to respond differently to these automatic feelings and achieve change you want to see in yourself. First, maybe you have noticed that sometimes you feel inadequate or worthless or sad, and maybe certain circumstances are triggering these feelings. And how do you normally respond to these feelings? What are you doing? Maybe you don't start certain things that you have planned. Maybe it might be causing some problems in your relationships. Try to understand how these feelings are impacting your relationship towards yourself, towards the world, and towards your career, and what you would like to see instead if you were responding differently, how you would like to respond instead, and what you would like to see. For most people, the feeling of I'm not enough doesn't begin in adulthood, it goes back to childhood. It doesn't has to be an obvious abuse or cruelty, but it might be showing through patterns like if you were constantly compared to siblings or had or if your emotions were dismissed. For instance, people were saying you are too sensitive, that it's not a big deal, and you were not seen, uh, or being praised mainly for achievements, good behavior, or success. This might be the reasons of why you are having these automatic feelings nowadays. And maybe your brain has recorded the message that the way I am, as I am, isn't enough. And as a child, you didn't have the power to say this environment is emotionally limited. Instead, your mind reached a safer conclusion and said, there must be something wrong with me, and therefore maybe it was accepted as a learned behavior, and you constantly tried to prove yourself, to improve yourself each time you had this feeling. And because children don't question their caregivers' emotional limits, they adapt to it. If love felt conditional, you became exceptional, and emotions felt unsafe, you became quiet. You stopped expressing yourself, your feelings, which caused even more feelings of inadequacy. And if criticism was constant, you became self monitoring, self criticizing. And it's not your fault, it's not a weakness. It was keeping you safe during those times, it was helping you, but however, maybe it's not serving you in the best light nowadays, and it might cause challenges in your relationships, or it might become a barrier for your career, or on the contrary, maybe you are overachieving and it's still difficult to feel satisfied with yourself. Therefore, noticing these patterns, becoming aware of it, and understanding what you would like to see instead might help you to find new solutions and strategies, skills you can use that you already have uh, to achieve the change you want to see. Maybe you are achieving your goals but still feeling empty and constantly doubting yourself despite a lot of success. Or maybe you are being deeply compassionate towards others, but you are too self critical towards yourself. And even when life looks like fine from outside, inside there is a voice saying you should be doing better, it's not enough. Let's pause and try to explore and understand this. Often inadequacy grows louder right before growth. So this can be also a mechanism that's keeping you, holding you back from your growth. For instance, if you want to start certain things, certain projects, but you feel these feelings of inadequacy and you are avoiding, procrastinating, or you believe that you don't deserve it, this might be stopping you from taking action. It's not because you are failing, but because you are approaching something meaningful, and it's not a personality problem. It's not a proof that you are broken. These patterns and this behavior once had a function to keep you safe, to help you belong, or to help you avoid rejection so that you could feel safe. And now it might be limiting you. And healing begins with recognizing that this voice is not you, and these are just thoughts, and accepting or noticing thoughts and feelings as internal mental events, but uh, also becoming aware that they don't have to reflect the reality. So, how to learn to separate from these labels or automatic feelings, thoughts you are having that are becoming a barrier for your growth? There is an important shift. You don't need to fight these voices, thoughts, or feelings that you are having, and you don't need to silence them. You don't need to prove that they are wrong. Just noticing them that they are there and learning to respond differently would be the first step towards making the progress. So each time when you would have these thoughts that you are not enough, that you are inadequate, you are worthless, you are not this thought, you are not this voice, you are the one who is hearing the voice, you are the one who is noticing this voice. And in the same manner as the clouds have enough space in the skies and they can still flow away, these thoughts can also, you just can notice how these clouds, these thoughts are passing away, and you don't have to use your valuable energy, time, or efforts to fight with them or to believe these thoughts and to make your behavior or decisions to be dictated by these thoughts. For instance, try this small experiment each time when the voice says, you are not doing enough, you are not capable. Respond internally with thanking your mind and that you hear this thought and that you respect it. But try to do something that's important for you at that moment, reminding yourself of this discussion we had with you here. For instance, if you were normally avoiding things or conversations, maybe projects or maybe your tasks, try to do the opposite of it and see how you would feel about it and what difference would it create in your life. So if this voice and if these thoughts were helping you to grow instead of holding you back, which perspective or which response would you be giving to these voices and emotions? If you understand that their function was just to keep you safe, to help you to belong to certain people, or to reject or to avoid rejection or criticism, so if you could just see these thoughts and feelings from this perspective instead of fully believing that they are the truth, what you would like to do instead when you have these thoughts? And try to notice when these feelings are less intense or not present. What's different about those moments? What's there about you that you are doing that, helping you to overcome this barrier and to respond differently? And what you have already done that helps you to manage or reduce this feeling even a little? Which skills do you use in these moments without always noticing? And what might this feeling be trying to help you with, to protect for you, and how you might use these thoughts and feelings as reminders for you to take action, maybe to remind yourself that you are capable, that you deserve good things. And imagine if this feeling was no longer controlling your reactions, what would you notice yourself doing differently? How would your interactions be different? How would your routines, habits would be different? What would other people notice about you whenever you are feeling capable and taking steps towards it? And what would be the smallest sign that things are moving in the direction that you want and you are taking small steps? Worthlessness is not proof of defect, it's proof that you learned to measure your value incorrectly. You were taught that worth must be earned, but worth was never meant to be earned. So, which version of you would like to see when these thoughts or feelings would be visiting you again? How you would like to be responding if you were guided by meaning instead of self-judgment, self-criticism? What would you choose next while you wake up in the morning, for instance, if these feelings and thoughts are visiting you, or when you are about to make an important decision or to take action, how you are normally responding and what you would like to do instead? And what difference would it mean for you if you could respond differently and if you could be courageous, if you could take steps with self love and expressing love towards others, your respect towards others? What would be different about you? And what's the smallest step you can take today that would reflect what you care about and not how you want to be seen? If your close friend spoke to themselves the way you speak to yourself, what would you tell to them? What would your suggestions would be? And what are you already doing that proves that you are stronger, that you give credit for yourself? Many people underestimate themselves because they were not taught to love themselves, and for instance, they might be very sensitive or careful and caring about other people, but might be very self-critical and self-harsh with themselves. And healing doesn't mean becoming endlessly confident. Healing means learning to move forward without punishing yourself when you do some mistakes, certain mistakes, and choosing to act with this self love and love towards other people, even at times when you don't feel confident, because you believe that this is the way you need to make progress. So, if you didn't allow the old voice to dictate your actions, what difference you would see in your habits, in your daily life, and what would it look like to take one step forward even when feelings of inadequacy are visiting you? And what might change if you stopped waiting to feel ready, to feel confident in order to take steps? Imagine yourself 1 year from now. You are still not perfect, not fearless, but you are just spending less time fighting with yourself and fighting with these feelings and thoughts. What would be different? What could be possible? What would future you thank me for practicing today? What would future you tell you to stop carrying that no longer belongs to you? And what would it look like to treat yourself as someone worth supporting, not fixing or fighting? You were never meant to become flawless. You were meant to become whole, and it's not your fault that you are having these feelings and thoughts. And as your brain has learned these automatic patterns, you can relearn again to love yourself and to approach yourself with compassion and believe that you are capable. And feelings of worthlessness is not your identity, it's not you. These are just labels, these are just thoughts, and you have the capacity to become aware of them and to choose your own patterns, your own behavior. And you have the power not to be held back by these feelings and thoughts. You can learn to notice that you can take out this mask each time it approaches you and be your true self despite what your mind tells you. And stories can change, and that is where real forward movement happens. I hope this video was useful for you. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave your questions in the comments and don't forget to follow me for more content.